My name is Sean Luzon. I'm a head of engineering. I'm going to talk a little bit about open source. So as Matthew pointed out, we have these Volentix core values here. And decentralization, government, decentralization. And what I want to focus here on is one of these key ones. They're all key, but open source. So what is open source? This is a definition, a source-specific one, software that can be freely accessed, used, changed, and shared. But it's very specific to software development. And while it's true, to me, open source is more than that. It's about collaboration. It's about all of us coming together to build things that would be too complicated, too expensive for any one development team, any one individual to build. And there's all of these tools that are being built together to enable this. So the first one here, as everyone's probably familiar, is GitHub. You may not be familiar with the OctoKitty here. This is the mascot of GitHub. GitHub has about, I think I said, 29 million users. 29 million users, all of these users uploading source code to the cloud. So to be shared with other people that are also using open source. If you're interested in Bitcoin, for example, go up to GitHub, check out the source code. It's all available. Do you like GitHub? Do you like Bitcoin and want to make a fork, like Bitcoin Cash or whatever? You go to the source code, fork it, which is basically make a copy of it, and you can do what you want with it. NPM. NPM is for JavaScript developers. That makes it very easy for me, and I do develop myself, to say, I want this component, this component, this component. I declare it, and boom, I have software that uses all of these parts. When I worked at IBM like 20 years ago, this was not possible. I spent a week developing my own software, which now is just boom, you've got it, boom, it's easy. Which makes the speed of development faster and faster. This is Utopian. Utopian.io is built on top of Steemit. It allows, who's familiar with Steemit? And Utopian? A few, oh, good number. I guess you guys already know that. Utopian is a great project for open source platforms, open source projects. If you want to get people to help you with your open source project, you write a little thing just like a Medium article, and people will contribute to it. The benefit is you actually get cryptocurrency by contributing to open source software. Then we've got these big companies, Netflix, Amazon. They are contributing software to open source. In projects that I've worked on, we take these huge investments that these companies give, and they give it to people for free. As you see here, Bitcoin has lots of contributors, lots of forks. Lots of people are contributing to open source software. So what makes this so popular? Why do people think open source is that great? First is trust. So as you might tell from my accent, I'm from the US, and we have, welcome to Missouri. Missouri is one of the states there, and it's the show me state. So trust, an open source software does not mean that it's trusted. However, it means that it shows you that it can be trustful. If you get a source code, if you get an application that, that they say, hey, this is trusted, you can trust us, and you ask, show me that you can trust it. With you have open source, it's all there. You can see where there's a problem. If it's a closed source, you can't. This is critical for blockchain type software. Like this stuff has very strong trust necessities. If you didn't have the source code available to you, how could you trust that the developers didn't do something wrong? That's what open source provides. The opposite of this is security through obscurity, meaning that the source code just is, if it's not available, hey, I'm going to keep it very safe, keep it to myself. But that's not a very good way of trusting organizations. Next is quality. So again, if something is open source, it doesn't necessarily mean it has high quality, but you can look at the software to see if it's high quality. If you find a bug, you can fix it. Beautiful thing about open source. You have lots of developers here. The entire world are your testers. This brings up the quality of open source products. It's also customizable. On the right you have some details on how one can contribute to open source. I put that on there to show that with GitHub or with anything else, really, you have something, let's say you have a website and you have an application actually, and it's all in white. And you look at that software and say, I like it, except I want it to be black. So you can fork it, make the change, post it on your website, and say, this is my new version of the software. It's exactly the same as the other version, except now it's dark colored. Then you can say, then this person, me, saying, I want to bring it back to, contribute it back to the rest of the software. I create a pull request, say, hey, original group, would you like to take advantage of this new feature? The original company can say, yes, I want to accept it, or no, I can't. So this increases the features that are available in any open source project and makes them all basically better. Interoperability is another one that's very important. So open source software, the people that are working on there probably aren't, they're doing this on their volunteer time. That means they're not going to be spending time building things that are already built up already. That means that they're going to have software that's interoperable with other software. This is a benefit to anyone wanting to take advantage of open source software. As Matthew was talking, VDEX is one of our software platforms, one of our software pillars. This right here shows order books. It demonstrates interoperability because we in VDEX are going to be interoperable with other decentralized exchanges. So the interoperability is very important for VDEX, for Volentix, and for open source in general. And finally, this gives you freedom. Freedom to, if you want to leave a software, you can, because you're not tied down. You're not tied into, for example, how Microsoft used to be in bringing people into your system and then tying them into there. With open source, you're not attached to that. But this question is, how do we make money? What if someone forks a repo and deploys it? And what about patents? And there's answers for these things. In the interest of time, I'm not going to go through these. We're going to have Q&A. Happy to talk about any of these. So, open source at Volentix. If this is open source, it's so great. What are we doing about Volentix? Glad you asked. Whoops, I gave it a little too fast. This is open source right now. This is a very simple testing system that Sylvain, one of our developers, blockchain researcher, is going to do. It's available right now. And it's just simply a way of testing EOS. You create a wallet. You can create tokens. We've done this for testing VTX, the VTX token that we talked about before. It's a very simple thing, but it can be useful for anyone doing VTX, doing EOS development. So that's what we've got right now. But coming up soon, which is another of our pillars, is Venue. And Venue is going to be released as a closed beta tomorrow. If anyone wants to get into that closed beta, go to venue.volentix.io and sign up, and you can welcome to the closed beta, which launches. And then we're going to release it to the public on July 1st. And that time, we will open source all of Venue. So anyone can find bugs, report them to us, or ideally fix them themselves. Anyone that's familiar with Waffle, that's this thing on the bottom. It's how we're tracking all of our issues. It's integrated with GitHub. And that's it. Thank you very much for your time.